Hello, I'm Dylan.
And I'm Keon.
And this is Trust Your Doctor, that podcast that can finally go upstairs because this week we watched Remembrance of the Daleks.
Written by Ben Aaronvitch, I don't know.
Directed by Andrew Morgan.
And aired in October of 1988.
Yep, so breaking from that Bible of the Daleks naming scheme we had theorized from Lost serial.
It's more of a joke.
It was more of a joke.
So, I mean, plus they skipped every single book from Genesis to Revelation, so they kind of had nowhere left to go.
Well, I could have gone back.
I guess they could have gone out of order.
I mean, the Dalek timeline is completely out of order at this point, so...
Which is interesting, because this serial takes place, like, slightly before Unearthly Child, I guess.
Yeah. But after Revelation of the Daleks, for the Daleks anyway.
Yeah. And
Actually,
it's
I
also
thought
the
this
first serial
takes
of
place
season 25.
slightly after Unearthly Child. It takes place in 1963.
At some point. Yeah, maybe it was after. I really don't know.
I think it was after, because I think the implication was that the first Doctor brought the Hand of Omega to the planet.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that he left yet.
This is true.
So yeah, I don't think they really ever say whether it was before or after. And it's kind of not that important, so.
No.
But they do go back to Coal Hill School, and they don't meet Ian and Barbara.
Well, then it must be after, because we can say it's after because they've gone off with the Doctor then.
Well, they could just have not met them, just coincidentally.
Also, I mean, they evacuated the school also, so...
They could have just, like, not been in that scene, just coincidentally. I don't know, okay. Anyway, it starts with the Doctor and Ace, of course. And
it starts with the pre-credit sequence.
Oh, yeah, it starts with the famous speeches thing, and, like, it zooms out, and it's the Earth, and there's, like, something looming close to the Earth.
It's a Dalek spaceship.
Yeah, then we get the Doctor and Ace walking down a street.
Yeah, well, they pop out of the TARDIS, and Ace is like, I'm hungry. And the Doc's like, hang on, look at this car. This radio antenna is too advanced.
So he gives Ace some money, and she goes off, and there's a little girl across the street.
Making weird cryptic messages.
And this scene actually started it, but this was something that continued throughout the entire serial, was that the Doctor here seemed kind of Third Doctor-ish, like first season, well, actually this whole serial seemed kind of Third Doctor-ish in a way, but, he was kind of snappy, and, like, he just seemed different.
He is different. It's intentional.
All right.
Sylvester McCoy decided with J&T that the humorous approach was not working for him.
It's working for me. It was working for me.
I guess they decided they're going to give the Doctor more of a temperament, I guess. I don't know. I don't think it reached the levels of the Third Doctor through this whole serial, but he was a little snappy. It didn't even reach the levels of the Sixth Doctor, to be honest.
Well, I mean, I don't know. He kind of goes in and out of it, and there were, like, I thought a lot of really awkwardly acted scenes, thanks to some of the serial characters, probably. But it did remind me of the Third Doctor, season 7 or whatever.
Yeah, well, that's intentional.
And just the, what happens in the serial, like, there's a military operation and alien invaders.
And not Unit shows up. Well, I think, because they're trying to, I don't know. There's this whole thing where Andrew Cartmel is trying to make the Doctor more mysterious again, because he thinks that the reason why the show's gone downhill is because the Doctor's not, like, mysterious anymore. He's just a guy who's just there. So
all right.
He's got this whole, it's called the Cartmel Master Plan, although that was never its official name back in the day.
Cartmel's Master Plan.
Yeah.
A 12-step plan. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, it's like his plan, which, as far as I know, never comes to fruition on screen. Because a lot of the lines that would allude to it get cut. Like, there's one in the serial that gets cut where the Doctor would say, I'm far more than just another Time Lord. But basically, it would be that Time Lord Society was founded by 3 Time Lords, Rassilon, Omega, and a third one called the Other, and...
They kind of maybe hint to that, like, later with, like, a single line.
Yeah, there
later in the
is one line in the serial that hints at it, but the Other was supposed to be, like, a former incarnation of the Doctor, and he would have like died and then gotten a new regeneration cycle and regenerated as the first Doctor. And that was going to be like a big revelation in season 27, I think, which never happened. But that was what they were trying to build up to, that the Doctor was some mysterious figure in Time Lord society.
I mean, that would be cool. It would also be kind of, well, I'll just put it this way. The Doctor's like already done so much, and now they're trying to make him a founder of Time Lord society. I mean, it would be kind of a cool little reveal, though, so.
Yeah, so.
But it didn't happen, so, whatever.
Yeah. And this is the start of the Seventh Doctor apparently becoming a lot darker, so no more happy-go-lucky season 24 Seventh Doctor.
Oh. I mean, he and Ace do kill some guys.
Yeah, the Doctor, I don't know, we didn't mention this before, the Seventh Doctor hasn't killed anyone until this serial, so...
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty normal. They usually don't go the Sixth Doctor route of killing someone in their first 15 minutes. I don't know if it was his first 15 minutes, but it was his first serial.
Well, so the Doctor just busts into this radio car, and the lady's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm the Doctor." And she's like, "Okay."
She kind of just accepts it, weirdly.
Well, honestly, they needed to have them just accept it, because with the whole Dalek 2 faction thing going on, there's not really enough room for countermeasures to not accept the Doctor.
Yeah, and they'd probably completely fail if What's-His-Face remained in charge. I mean, maybe, I don't know. Meanwhile,
Group Captain Gilmore?
Yeah. The definitely not Brig Group Captain Gilmore.
The Doctor calls him the Brigadier at one point, and he's like,
Yeah.
Group Captain, and he's like, oh, oops.
So meanwhile, Ace is at a diner.
Yeah.
And apparently there's some commentary / joke about the British like monetary system, the very confusing system that apparently was amended multiple times, I guess. Well, it's not confusing anymore. Now it's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Ace is from 1983,
Yeah,
so
so
she wouldn't have known
Yeah.
the original system, because this is in 63.
Yeah. But, I mean, the system that she describes is still the slightly confusing one.
Yeah, because I think Mike is explaining it to her.
Yeah. I mean, well, now it's like the standard 100 pennies in a pound. I think.
Ace has got a boombox, too.
The Doctor mentions how it's a dangerous anachronism later, which is
one,
probably true.
One wonders where she got that boombox, because she didn't have it when she got on the TARDIS.
Well, they probably had several adventures in between. Or maybe she just picked it up in the TARDIS innards.
Yeah, well, the TARDIS is infinite, so...
So she meets Mike, like we mentioned. And meanwhile, there's an alien in the school.
Yeah.
And it's a Dalek, surprise.
Yeah.
So...
I think that was in Totter's Lane. There was a Dalek beeping around in Totter's Lane. And they come busting through the door, and then they shoot the Dalek, and it's not working.
Surprise. So again, like that unit thing where they try and use conventional weapons. Although I guess they're not as dumb as Unit, because Unit always tries to use conventional weapons.
Well, see, at first I was like, why isn't Unit in this serial? But then I guess Unit...
It's 1963.
Yeah, I was going to say, Unit's not in this because Unit wasn't founded yet, so...
They could have made this like a precursor to Unit and somehow tied it in.
I think they wanted to, but I think at the same time... They didn't want to bog down the continuity, so they decided not to like explicitly mention it on screen, but I think it was intended that it would be a precursor to Unit.
I guess, I mean, it makes sense, and you can sort of just imagine that it was without any, explicit confirmation or whatever. I don't really see how it would bog down the continuity more than any of the other BS things they've done, like deciding to destroy Skaro at the end of this.
See, okay, so Skaro shows up in the reboot, and they just never explain how it didn't get destroyed. So you can either buy into the 1/8 Doctor novel, which reveals that it was just another planet the Daleks made up to look like Skaro to fool the Doctor.
Jesus.
Or you can buy into the other explanation, which is that they rebuilt Skaro.
Yeah, well,
you can take your pick.
According to the wiki, almost every writer of Doctor Who since this has just ignored the destruction of Skaro, so yeah.
Except Russell T. Russell T. Davies claims that this is one of the first shots of the Time War, which ends up in the destruction of Gallifrey. pre-reboot.
So they're shooting the Dalek, and it's not working, obviously, and they're using grenades and stuff, and the Doctor's like, it's not human, it'll never work.
So Ace catches up because she's with Mike, and it's revealed Mike is also part of the countermeasures team.
Right, he's Sergeant Mike Smith.
So
Very generic name, come to think of it, actually, like Mike Smith. It's such a normal name.
Well, okay, so there's this nice little callback. So they get off the TARDIS, and the Doc's like, you don't have any Nitro 9 on you, Ace, right? And she's like, nope. And then they get to the Dalek, and the Doc's all, all right, Ace, give me some of that Nitro 9 you definitely don't have.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
So...
See, that was a moment of like, last season's Seventh Doctor, kind of.
Well,
I liked.
I think Sylvester McCoy's trying to balance the humor with the like darker aspects, because I think
he's trying, but I don't think he's succeeding that well. I mean, I don't think he's trying to balance them 50-50 either, so whatever.
No, but it's partially his fault and also partially the writers, who I also guess don't know what to do now that they've decided to completely throw a wrench into the system of the Seventh Doctor's characterization. It's a bit weird that they would, like, one season in decide to change the entire characterization of the Doctor.
I guess it is kind of weird, but
like, even the the third Doctor didn't just change on a dime. There was like a gradual change in season 8.
Yeah, none of them really changed overnight. But I guess here, whatever. There also was like a lot of weird and awkward acting in this serial, I think, probably on the most part.
I think it was on the most part of the countermeasures team.
Yeah, and like the basically any of the serial specific characters, really.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of contributed to some of the awkwardness of this serial. I don't think it was just, Ace and the Doctor. I don't think it was Ace at all, actually.
I think it was the Doctor to a small extent, but...
Well, I think it was just because of his change in character.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not really a bad actor, as we've already seen,
No.
so... And it might have been even the dialogue, too. A lot of it might have been awkward. I really don't know.
I actually liked a lot of the dialogue in this serial. I feel it was better than what we've been getting quite a few serials before.
I guess there's one specific scene that's coming right up that was really awkward. This is the one I'm mainly thinking of.
You'll have to explain to me, because I'm not certain which one you're thinking about. But anyway, so the Doctor and Ace blow up the Dalek. And I think that's how part 1...
I think that's the only use of Nitro 9 in this serial.
Yeah, I think so.
Which I guess if they get one use in per,
per serial. There were a lot of explosions in this serial, though.
Yeah,
they blew up a lot of Daleks. And apparently Andrew Morgan, the director, because of all those explosions, ran so over budget the BBC forbid him from ever directing for Doctor Who again. So... You know what? It was worth it. If I was him, I'd be like, that was worth it.
Yeah, you get to blow up all those unique Daleks. Like the heavy artillery Dalek. Whatever
Special weapons Dalek. That guy was just overpowered, okay? That was just...
They defeat him kind of easily, at least.
No, he just rolls back into the spaceship. He survives. Special weapons Dalek makes it out of there okay.
Wasn't that the other named Dalek? I thought the special weapons one was the one who, like, had that...
Special weapons one was the one that looked like just had a cannon in the middle of its body.
Yeah, then there was the other one who wasn't the special weapons, who was like the one that looked really cheap and put together at the last minute. He was like a named one.
Oh, the black one.
No, it was another one.
Another gold one?
Yeah. It had more heavy artillery, not artillery, but like had more weaponry than the traditional ones.
I don't know. The special weapons Dalek makes it out of there okay. The one with the cannon in the middle of its body. That one makes it out okay, because you see it roll into the spaceship near the end of part 4. In the middle of part 4.
I don't know. Anyway, they make their escape now, I guess, to Coal Hill School.
Yeah, because they're detecting the radio emissions from the school.
Yeah.
And the Doctor finds a tea mat in the basement.
Yeah, so the scene where they talk to the headmaster, actually, that was the awkward scene I was thinking of. It was just so awkward to watch. Like, the acting, the dialogue, all of it was just really awkwardly delivered with a bunch of pauses and, like, looks like they were stumbling over their lines. And
well, apparently, Well, the headmaster is controlled by the Daleks.
Yeah, but still.
Well, what happened was apparently they were going to dub in Dalek lines into the spaces so that it would be like the Daleks communicating with the person. And this actually happens again later. There's another weird scene where this happens because they didn't dub in the lines. And I don't know why they didn't end up dubbing in the lines, but them not doing it has made chunks of the serial horribly confusing and awkward.
I think we've also gotten a little more of the little girl.
Yeah.
The cryptic little girl who's creeping around. So yeah, they go down into the basement and there's a T-mat device. Looks sort of like headstones, but Dalek themed almost. But nah, it's a T-mat, so.
The T-mat effect was really cool. The Dalek like phasing into the rainbow.
Yeah, it was cool. Maybe not really cool.
It was really cool. It was like a rainbow and there was shimmer going on. And
well, the Doctor also mentions how this is like a grave anachronism, and like if anyone were to find this, it would alter history, which seems sort of at odds with the other line before, like humans have a great potential for forgetting things and ignoring things. So, but yeah.
Well, he disables it and destroys the Dalek coming through by disabling it.
And then Ace is like, awesome, we've disabled it. And the Doctor's like, no, there's usually a Dalek on guard at these things. Oh, shoot. So it rolls up and it's like, hey, Doctor, I'm that one Dalek per serial. It's just going to let you go. No, he
doesn't. He chases him up the stairs. Well, the Doctor runs up the stairs and like, ha-ha! And the Dalek's like, I can go upstairs now.
So, they finally conquered their real ultimate enemy, stairs. So now they can
ultimate foe was the stairs.
Now they can focus on, the next in line, which is the Doctor.
Well,
and they actually had the hovering Daleks, obviously in Revelation of the Daleks. But this is like the first time where where I actually cognizantly went, wow, they can go upstairs now. They've never been able to do this before. This is an actual huge improvement in their ability to get around. And it wasn't really ever a part of any of the previous Dalek serials, but yeah.
Wasn't there there was the one serial, I'm sure, where they went up the stairs and the Dalek was like, oh bugger, because they couldn't go up the stairs?
Which one was that?
I think it was a third Doctor serial.
What, Day of the Daleks?
I don't remember. It might have been a fourth. I think it was Destiny with Romana. I don't remember.
Huh. I don't think there were stairs in that. That one was mainly like outside.
It was mainly in the BBC quarry.
I don't know.
Well, so the Ace gets out and the headmaster locks the door behind the Doctor. He's like, no, let me out. And then part 2 begins with Ace waking up and bashing the headmaster and then opening the door for the Doctor and locking the Dalek in.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ace is pretty badass in the serial.
She carries around a baseball bat.
For some reason.
Which is used by her and the Doctor regularly throughout the serial.
I think the Doctor actually takes it now to the Hand of Omega.
Yeah, which becomes like the main center point of this serial.
Yeah. So
yeah, obviously they're going for the whole Omega Rassilon third dude, but I'm surprised they didn't make it the Hand of Rassilon.
They were going to. I think someone was like, Rassilon owns like something of everything in the universe already, right? And they're like, oh darn. Yeah, there's one line where the Doctor's explaining what the Hand of Omega is to Ace, and he slips and says, we had trouble with the prototype, and Ace is like, we? And the Doctor's like, they.
She's on to me, run. Oh yeah, they sort of start setting up this implied romance between Ace and Mike. And I was just watching this, thinking like, it would actually be really hilarious if they just wrote Ace out, the romance right out in this serial.
That would have been hilarious, actually.
Would have been terrible, but I would have forgiven them for the hilarity factor. But they don't do that, because Mike turns out to be a... Yeah.
Spoilers. Well, okay, so the Doctor goes to the Hand of Omega, which he's keeping in a casket store.
Yeah, you don't really know what it is yet. It's sort of like a mystery, and they kind of set it up, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I think it's in part 3 where the Doctor explains to Ace that it was like a stellar manipulator, that they manipulated the star of Gallifrey to generate the power for the time experiments.
Yeah, it was sort of like a plot device-y type thing. But yeah, he's keeping it in like a casket place. I don't know if this is like a mortician, I guess. I really don't know. But the guy comes in.
Well, the milkman comes in.
Yeah, the milkman shows up, and the doctor goes in, and the guy sort of talks to his boss or supervisor or whatever, and he mentions how he thought the doctor was like an older guy with gray hair. So obviously that's the first doctor.
Yeah. Or the third doctor, I suppose.
Or maybe the fifth, blonde you could mistake for gray. He's probably graying a little bit. No, it's probably the first doctor.
Could also be the 11th doctor, I suppose, as he grows really old at the end of his lifetime,
or the
too.
12th.
Well, or the war doctor as well.
Or just a completely random dude.
Just a guy.
Just an actual doctor. But no. The casket sort of floats and it follows the doctor out, and the guy faints, hilariously enough.
Well, the doctor chucks the baseball bat into the hand of Omega and then gets it back.
Yeah.
I guess the hand of Omega also can empower objects.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff that seems to have no rhyme or reason. Then there's this reveal later. But I also kind of didn't like it because it's the reveal didn't make you go oh, that's what he was doing. It made you go oh, I'd probably get it if I watched it again. So I guess that's all right, but
I don't know. I liked this serial. I liked the way the doctor had a plan for everything, and I liked how the serial implied that
things.
Well, I like how the serial implied that this was a plan the first doctor had originally, but then he kind of, the way I interpreted it was he had this plan originally, and then I guess got swept up with Susan and Ian and Barbara, and then couldn't follow through on it. And the seventh doctor's like, "Oh yeah, I gotta go finish that thing."
Seems. I like that, but it also seems kind of at odds with what was that audio we listened to? That's right before
Quinnis.
Yeah, seems a bit at odds with Quinnis. I mean, maybe not. Obviously, he was keeping it a secret this entire time, or at least was before he dropped off the hand. I mean, after that, I sort of interpreted it as he kind of just forgot.
Yeah,
but yeah, I guess it was kind of cool. I didn't hate this serial, by the way. I just obviously didn't like it as much as you did. I thought it was just middle of the road.
I definitely think this is a solid, good story.
I don't know.
I
still prefer Dragonfire overall.
That's fair. There's nothing wrong with that.
Mainly because of the alien from Alien. No.
I was reading that was an explicit reference to Alien, that they made that alien look like that.
Yeah, I read that, but that also seems like something that people would just make up.
Yeah.
It does bear an uncanny resemblance though, so maybe.
What I did also like about this was that the Doctor's plan didn't account for there to be two factions of Daleks, which we haven't actually mentioned yet, which is...
Well, because you don't really even figure it out yet. Maybe if you're paying really close attention, but I didn't.
Well, yeah, I
was actually confused by the two factions thing.
They paint the Daleks different colors, so there's the white gold ones, which I was a little bit confused.
White and gold? I thought they were black and blue.
I was a little bit confused,
to reference
actually.
A 2-year-old meme.
Because I really thought that the white and gold ones were the rebels and the black ones were the imperialists, but that's actually backwards.
Yeah, I think maybe my problem wasn't so much that I was confused as to how many factions there were, but to who was who and who was working with Davros, which is actually revealed not to be Davros, and then surprise, Davros does show up.
I actually liked that fake out.
Yeah, because the person that they imply heavily to be Davros, not going to say who it is yet, but it's not Davros.
It's actually, fun fact, that voice is John Leeson, who played K9.
So, they set it up. This was pretty cool. They set it up where it's anyone who's watched any serial with Davros just immediately goes, oh, it's obviously Davros, whatever. Why even try hiding him? But it's not.
It's even... I think she isn't revealed to be not Davros yet, but she has shown up now and working with the headmaster. It's oh yeah, and Radcliffe, working with Radcliffe as well. But what they wanted to do was get Terry Malloy, who plays Davros, to come in and do the voice lines for that battle computer girl thing.
Yeah.
So that it would seem even more like Davros. But I think he was busy when they wanted to do the studio session, so that's why they got John Leeson, a.k.a. former K9.
Well, he does a really good job of it, so... Also, it might serve as like a little hint, like if you really pay close attention, like, that sounds like Davros, but not totally.
Yeah.
Although you'd probably just write it off as them changing the actor.
I
if
still
you didn't
really
know.
thought it was Davros,
Yeah,
though.
I mean, yeah.
So, anyway, the Doctor takes the casket to be buried.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we mentioned Ratcliffe, so we can kind of explain him. He's running a cover company type thing. And he makes this line like, we were on the wrong side in the last war, so obviously he's a pretty big jerk.
Yeah. Probably a neo-Nazi, too.
There's all that, there's the race stuff later in this serial, which on the one hand felt kind of shoehorned in, but on the other hand was pretty decent.
Yeah, well, so Radcliffe makes this phone call, and he tells this person, follow the Doctor, make sure you know where the casket is, and then it cuts to Mike putting down the phone in a phone booth, and that's when you start to suspect that maybe Mike is a... I guess the headmaster wasn't working with Radcliffe, because the headmaster, Mike chases after the headmaster, like, where's the casket? Where's the casket?
Yeah, he basically beats up the headmaster.
Then the headmaster... It's okay. This scene was also awkward because they didn't dub in the Dalek lines, but the Daleks kill the headmaster.
Yeah, that's pretty obvious that
remotely.
Yeah,
it's just kind of weird because the headmaster goes, "No, not me. I've done my job," and then he just like passes out on the floor, and you're like, "Wait, what happened?"
So I mentioned this before, but like if this is before Unearthly Child, kind of weird that they wouldn't mention the recent death of the headmaster.
Maybe they're all in mourning.
So that's why they're all wearing black. Well, Ian is.
Ian was the only one who cared about the headmaster. So Mike sees the Doctor bury the casket. Okay, this was just funny. The guy, I guess the priest who's going with the Doctor to bury the casket's like...
He's blind.
He's blind. He's like, wow, your pallbearers are very quiet. And the Doctor's like, yes.
Because the casket's still floating.
They are.
So. And he mentions how the Doctor's voice sounds different. And the Doctor's like, mm-hmm.
He's like, it's changed multiple times. See, at first I was like, why is the Doctor just leaving the casket out here in the open, just in the middle of nowhere? And then later it's revealed he actually wants the Daleks to get the casket because he's got this whole plan going.
Yeah.
But he had to make sure that the right Dalek faction got it now.
Yeah, that was kind of a lame point. I mean, it made sense, but yeah, I don't know. It's not like a typical plan, so
yeah,
I was like, meh.
Well, see, the one thing I didn't like about the whole Dalek faction thing was that I thought Davros would be working with the rebels because I'm pretty sure in Revelation and previous serials, Davros has been made out to be, I guess, exiled from Skaro because the Daleks have built their own Supreme Dalek who rules the Dalek race.
Yeah,
now.
well, that's what it pretty much was in Revelation.
So that's why I was confused when Davros showed up on the side of the Imperialists, because I was like, wouldn't he be...
I think it's just how they're wording it, because Davros was originally in command, so they're the originals, and then the other dudes are the rebels.
Yeah, that could
which
be
was
it.
Pretty confusing still.
Yeah.
So.
It's just a wording thing, I guess. It was really confusing.
Yeah.
But those white and gold Daleks do look sick in that white and gold paint scheme, though. So
sure.
Yeah, so the Doctor buries the casket, and then he goes and meets up with Ace, and they're like, well, we can do nothing until the Daleks have the casket, so let's just go hang out at the exact same cafe Ace went to earlier, which is apparently the only cafe in all of London at this point.
Yep.
And the countermeasures team shows up.
I don't know when they say this, but the Doctor tells Ace that the Daleks are going to conquer the Earth in the 22nd century.
I guess Dalek invasion of Earth reference. Ace is like, wait, what? What?
The Doctor's like, don't mind. It's okay, she won't live that long anyway. And neither will we, so we don't have to worry about it.
I think we do.
No, I'm not going to live to the 22nd century.
We might. Has science gone too far?
To where I'd be 104?
Yeah, you might live to be 104.
Well, I guess 103.
103
in January.
Isn't out of the question. I mean, you probably have to be 120 to actually be in the year that the Daleks conquer the Earth, so, I mean, that's a little bit out of the question, but...
Honestly, if I make it to 103, just pull the plug. Unless I'm, healthy and active, then don't.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. So,
To anyone who has that capability who's listening to this, which is like no one.
if you're listening to this when we're 103. Yeah, the doctor gives Ace his baseball. Okay, the doctor taps Ace's baseball bat with his hand. He's like, "Ow!" Oh, this is at Mike's house because he's showing it off that it's all powerful now, and he's like, "Here you go, Ace."
Oh, right, because he
try not to hit
powers it
anyone
up.
with this. It creates mini explosions when you hit things. Oh no, actually the cafe scene is in episode 3, because episode 2 ends with Ace being surrounded by Daleks in the school.
Yeah.
She decides to go investigate the school solo.
Well, a lot of this serial kind of blurs together.
Oh yeah, she wants a boombox. She wants to go get a boombox. She's going in, and then there's Dalek chases her, and she beats it with a baseball bat.
Yeah, she destroys the eye stalk, which is a pretty good way to put it out of commission, really. There's also this part where she's just behind the Dalek, and it kind of knows she's there, but it really can't do anything because of the fact that it can't like turn that fast, and it doesn't have any weaponry on its back. So it's a pretty good tactic for taking them out, really.
You know what? I just realized the serial sucks. Doesn't have the Dalek trope of a Dalek. He's just looking at someone and not doing anything. Yeah.
I guess we can just write it off as like those background Daleks who get killed. You know, one of them might have been the one.
So
But yeah, this is pretty much the first one that doesn't have that. Pretty sure every single one before, or maybe like all of them except 1 or 2.
So so Ace gets surrounded by 3 Daleks who just don't kill her immediately for reasons that are unexplained. I guess they realize that if they kill Ace, the bullets will go through Ace and kill themselves, so...
What?
Because they're standing in like a circle, so they would shoot and it would go
I
through
guess,
and...
I mean, yeah. I guess they could just all hit at the same exact time. I don't know.
Well...
There's also the narrative fact they can't have Ace die.
I mean, yeah, she's got plot armor thicker than an ounce of lead. I don't know.
Thicker than Dalekinium armor. Which I guess isn't that protective.
Well,
I mean,
blow
against
them
the
up
bat, at
with an
least.
RPG later. Yeah, so the countermeasures team shows up and rescues Ace, and then the doctor's like, "Why did you come back, Ace?" And she's like, "I wanted my boombox." And the doctor's like...
He mentions how if anyone were to find the boombox, it would create a completely alternate timeline or something.
Yeah, because I think he says that like some technological revolution will happen 20 years too early.
Yeah, and that's also kind of why he doesn't want the wrong Daleks to have the hand.
Yeah.
There's also those other characters that we completely didn't mention, like Mrs. or Miss what's her name or whoever she was.
Miss Housekeeper Lady. I don't know.
Not her, the other one.
Oh my God.
No, we mentioned her in the very beginning, but actually, yeah, come to think of it, she doesn't do much.
I think she's the science advisor for countermeasures, which I guess the science advisor, which is also hinting that it's a precursor to unit, I suppose.
Yeah.
And then there's that other lady who's also part of countermeasures.
Yeah. I guess they actually do kill some Daleks. Maybe it was here, maybe it was later. I don't remember. But they look into the Dalek now. And there's also that good scene earlier with Ace driving. I thought it was pretty good because it was funny. But there's also the fact that like they kind of explain the Daleks for anyone who doesn't know about them, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, and also with a show with such a long and varied history, like it's likely that people are just picking up the show now, so it's kind of necessary to explain who they are. And the scene was also funny because Ace was driving really wildly, and the doctor's like, "Can you stay on the road?" And she's like, "Well, how about you drive?" And then the scene cuts to the doctor in the driver's seat. And I was like, okay.
But right, they look into the Dalek case and they see the Khaled and they mention how it's different than the one from before, how it's completely organic rather than just organic / mechanized or whatever it was.
Yeah, something like that. I think it was... No, it must have been completely organic. Ace, figures this out later that the Dalek factions hate each other because I guess one of them's the Davros faction, which aren't pure Khalids, I guess, because they're...
Yeah. Because Davros modified them.
Yeah.
And so that's sort of like, the whole race thing, which we also didn't mention the scene with the doctor going to the cafe or whatever.
I guess they're playing up that Nazi symbolism.
I guess. Also very, I mean, yeah, I guess it's a good message. It's also pretty 80s in the fact that, like, the only non-white person in this serial only has this one scene where, yeah,
as
and
the
has no other importance to
like
anything.
bartender. Yeah. Well, it's also England in '63, so they're supposed to be portraying '63 England. So.
Yeah, but it's still very, like, 80s slash also, yeah, 60s in the way that it does.
Yeah,
that.
it is.
So, like, yeah, a good message, but also kind of undermined by its own
Time period.
decisions.
Yeah. Also, was it just me or was Captain Gilmore massive? Like, he looks
What?
like 7 feet tall. Like,
What?
anytime he stood next to someone, he looked a solid 2 to 3 feet taller than
Wait,
them.
what? I didn't notice that.
I noticed it because there's a scene, I think it's about nowish in episode 3, where the doctor's at, like, the countermeasures headquarters, which looks suspiciously like the unit headquarters we got in that one serial. And there's like a map on the table, and the doctor's showing them where the Daleks are, and Group Captain Gilmore looks 3 feet taller than everyone else standing around the table. And I was like, he's either standing on stilts, or he's just really tall compared to everyone else.
Well, I didn't notice that at all. Maybe he wears platform shoes.
Well, I mean, Sylvester McCoy is, what? Did I say 5'6"?
Yeah, he's like, yeah, something like that.
But still, Captain Gilmore looks like 6'6". Easy. So, Gentle Giant. Yeah, there's this weird line.
All right.
There's this weird line later where the doctor makes this snarky remark at Group Captain Gilmore. He's like, "Are you going to trust me now?" And I'm like, "But he's been trusting you for 3 episodes at this point."
Yeah, pretty much. I don't really think there's any indication that he doesn't trust the doctor or tries to go against the doctor, really. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so while Ace and the doctor...
The doctor reveals the plan to
Yeah.
Ace. He takes her over to a side area and reveals what's going on, which we've already pretty much explained, so...
Yeah, and...
Kind of forgot what happens then.
I think what happens is that the renegade Daleks dig up the Hand of Omega, which is buried. So the little headstone for the Omega plot is, first off, sideways to all the other headstones in the entire graveyard. And second off, I thought it was a sideways 3, and then I realized it's a lowercase Omega on the headstone.
Oh, is that what it was? Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was a sideways 3 too.
Yeah, it's a lowercase Omega. So the renegade Daleks dig it up and take it back to their place, I guess, and then they decide to just massacre all the people they had working for them.
Yeah, so Ratcliffe's guys.
And this is when it's revealed that it's not actually Davros working with them, it's just the little girl. Well,
yeah.
They're using the little girl as like a conduit for their battle computer, I think.
Yeah, which I guess is a nice tie back to Destiny of the Daleks, where the computer was like too logical. Mm-hmm. So they're using this the supposedly creative mind of this little girl to reduce like the logic factor or whatever.
Yeah. So,
which I mean, seems to be working. So good on them.
And then the doctor's like, "I think the wrong faction got the hand, Ace. Looks like we're gonna have to stick around for a little while longer." So, yeah, how does episode 3 end? It ends with, like, someone...
it ends with the ship coming down.
Oh, that's right. They go to the school, and the doctor's like, "No, they won't land a ship here." And then it ends with the ship landing right there, and he's like, "I seem to have miscalculated."
Right, because they know that they're going to land a ship. Like, they mention how it's inevitable. And the doctor's like, "Don't worry, it'll be miles away from here." And then it descends, like, right in the courtyard. And you're like, oh, shoot.
The ship looks surprisingly cuboid.
I mean, it kind of reminded me of the Millennium Falcon. Like, it didn't look...
Squarish.
It didn't look like the Millennium Falcon at all, but for some reason when I saw it, I was just like, Millennium Falcon. Anyway, we kind of touched on this before, but we should also mention again, like, how cool the reveal was that it's the little girl.
Yeah.
Like,
she spins around in a chair.
It's not Davros. Who would have seen that coming, that it's not Davros?
Yeah, because they've been showing it from behind the whole time.
Yeah.
And then in episode 3, she spins around and it's like, whoa, it's the little girl. And you're like, wait a second. Where's Davros? And okay, so the Imperial Daleks introduced the Emperor Dalek, which is this Dalek with this massive dome head.
Yeah.
Who looks like, in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy movie, they have
I've seen that.
Marvin, the android.
I don't remember it because I was like,
he looks just like a giant
11.
ball on top of a tiny body, and that's what this reminded me of.
He has like that screen sort of thing that looked like an eye, but it wasn't an eye stock. It was like
like a square imposed on the circle.
I think it was like a hexagon.
That might have been a hexagon.
The little blue thing. So it's not a stock. It's like flat against his surface. So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, they introduce him before they reveal that the other one's Davros. So you're like, oh, it's the Emperor Dalek versus Davros, but no, it's Emperor Dalek versus little girl. And then in episode 3, episode 4, the Emperor Dalek opens up to reveal Davros is just chilling inside. He's like, what's up, my homies? Yeah, well, okay, so the Daleks come out of the ship and they're like, send in the special weapons Dalek. And this Dalek comes rolling out, and it looks like...
They just put it together at the last minute.
It's got like a single cannon just in the middle that can apparently destroy like 5 Daleks at a time.
It basically just looked like a more powerful version of the regular Dalek cannon thing.
Yeah. And it doesn't have... I don't think it had an eye stalk. It had like a tiny rectangular slit, so it looked like old-timey knight armor had been superimposed onto a Dalek.
I mean, that's probably more like effective because I remember earlier Ace smashes an eye stalk, which like completely just impairs its vision.
Well, the Doctor impairs a Dalek right now when he ziplines into the ship and puts the hat over the guy's eye stalk, and he's like, "What's happening?"
So, yeah, that's a tactic that I think has been used before, like multiple times over multiple Dalek serials.
And he uses the umbrella.
It still works.
Yeah, so. That's something they should probably fix. Yeah, the Doctor ziplines down using his umbrella. I do like that they're actually making use of the umbrella and not having it just be like a prop that Sylvester McCoy just had to carry around for no reason, and that they're actually giving him things to do with the umbrella.
I mean, sure, kind of like the recorder before they just stopped using that.
Well, the thing is, they've so far pretty much consistently used the umbrella in every serial. Like, he hangs from it in Dragonfire, and he pulls the thing off the roof in Delta and the Bannerman, and he ziplines down the thing using it in this one, and...
yeah, alright.
So, that's nice.
Who knows if they'll continue it.
Yeah, so he ziplines into the ship, disables the Dalek, and then the rest of the countermeasures team ziplines in. The Doc's like, well, looks like they're going back to Skaro. That's good. I need them to get the Hand of Omega now. So, then they leave the ship. Yeah, that ship scene was a bit inconsequential. There's a scene where... we forgot the best Ace scene, where it's right after the countermeasures team blows up the Daleks that were attacking you, and the Doctor comes up to one that's still alive and starts trying to grab the Doctor, and Ace just grabs the baseball bat and starts smashing the Dalek mutant with the baseball bat.
A lot of people do that in this serial.
The baseball bat breaks, unfortunately, at some point.
They probably don't want them carrying around this OP weapon all the time, so... I mean, Ace does have a backpack full of Nitro 9, so there's that.
So... she's basically a walking time bomb.
Yeah, I think there's some more scenes of violence.
Well, the special weapons Dalek goes in, destroys all the rebel Daleks except for one, and then takes the casket and leaves. And then the Doctor contacts Davros and basically taunts him into using the...
Yeah, I didn't get this scene. They kind of made it seem like the Doctor was controlling Davros and speaking through Davros somehow.
Well, but
that's not the case.
No, I think he was just talking with... I think he was trying to rile Davros up into using the Hand of Omega, because I think the Doctor had pre-programmed it to blow up Skaro's sun, and that's why he wanted them to get the hand, because then it would blow up Skaro's sun and wipe out the Daleks, or at least so the Doctor hoped.
Yeah, but he obviously he was, after you watch the scene, you're like, oh, okay, he was just taunting Davros like he usually does. But like during the scene, it seemed like he was somehow controlling Davros, to me at least. So it was kind of confusing there.
The Davros is like, you tricked me, and the Doc's like, you tricked yourself.
Because what I thought it was going to be was like the Doctor was controlling him, and he was just having this fake conversation to trick everyone else because he'd been tricking everyone for the entire serial. But that's actually not the case.
Gotta get tricky. Oh yeah, then there's this interesting, I guess, line where Davros is like, "Have pity on me," and then the Doctor's like, "I have pity for you, Davros."
Okay, I don't remember that, but sure.
And then he turns off the view screen. And the Doctor assumes Davros is dead, which is a completely incorrect and terrible assumption. Because then Davros just closes his little pod and just backs up. He just starts slinking off the bridge, and the Dalek's like, Emperor Dalek leaving bridge. Emperor Dalek getting an escape pod. Escape pod jettisoned. And then they blow up because the sun blowing up like wiped out the ship.
Yeah. So I guess, are we attributing that to the Doctor?
Yeah, I guess we should.
Yeah.
Let me just make a note of that so I don't forget.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he supposedly blows up Scarrow.
Yeah, McCoy like pronounced Dalek really weirdly in this serial. He like went back and forth between Dalek, Dalek. Yeah.
It's that accent. Wait till we get to so David Tennant is Scottish, but they asked him to play the role of Doctor Who with an English accent. And apparently it's really hard to say like oon, like in moon. So they have a race called Jadoon. And so Russell T throws in this line just to mess with David Tennant, like Jatoon platoon upon the moon. Because that's really hard to say in an English accent when you have a Scottish accent, apparently. At least it was for David Tennant. So they threw it in there to mess him up, and I was like, "Wow!"
So does he pull it off, or
mostly?
Mostly. Guess we'll get there
Eventually.
soon enough.
Actually, yeah, we'll get there like right at the start of 2018.
So yeah, I guess also continuing what I think.
Oh yeah, Mike dies.
Yeah. He's killed by the little girl.
Michael
who has a face-off with Ace. An Ace-off. Oh yeah, Ace's jacket says Ace on the back.
Oh, Ace.
Ace. Oh, she doesn't do the Ace thing. What the heck?
What?
They just completely discard it now.
Well, yeah, so we also forgot to mention that there's one Renegade Dalek left, and it blows up because it can't compute that its entire, like, Renegade faction has been blown up, as well as Scarrow.
Yeah, I guess the Doctor kills that one, too, because he's the one who kind of incites that.
Kind of. He, like, taunts it into killing itself.
Yeah, so I pretty much count him.
That's a little dark. And then the girl kind of collapses and returns to normal, and... Yeah, Mike was... We forgot to mention, Mike was officially revealed as a traitor. He was working for Radcliffe.
He and Ace have, like, a fallout, sort of.
Which was good, I guess, for the whole love plot line. It's better that they had a falling out like that instead of just leaving it, that they were still in love, but Ace was leaving, which they did that one time with, who was it? There was someone who got written out with a love plot line, but, like, before they did, they had a serial where they fell in love with someone and they just left.
I don't remember.
It might have been Joe.
Really?
Or it was one of those early, like, first through fourth Doctor companions.
Vicky, maybe?
Might have been Vicky. Might have been Victoria, even.
I don't remember.
But yeah. When Mike was revealed to be a traitor, I was like, wow, if I was Countermeasures a unit, I wouldn't ever hire anyone named Mike again, because this Mike was a traitor, Mike Yates was a traitor. I mean, it's just... Mike's not a good name to hire.
Yeah.
And it ends with the Doctor and Ace having this somber conversation where Ace is like, "We did good, didn't we, Doctor?" The Doctor's like, "I don't know, Ace. Time will tell." Yeah,
they're at a funeral, probably for Mike, but, maybe for one of the other people who died.
Yeah, one of the other, like, 20 people.
Maybe he's just one of the random Ratcliffe guys who's at his funeral. Maybe he was one of the maybe they're holding a funeral for a Dalek. But yeah, then it ends.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess pretty decent overall, in my opinion. But there were a lot of parts of this that I didn't really like. So yeah.
I thought it was good. I really enjoyed it, actually. For a lot of reasons.
Because it was a huge throwback to, like, a unit serial.
No, more because I think Oh, I think it was one of the better Dalek stories for sure. I mean, compared to the quality we've been getting with like Revelation and what was the Fifth Doctor one? I don't remember. Something of the Daleks, but I think this was on the upper end of Dalek stories we've been getting. And it does something interesting with the Daleks, which is difficult to do when they've been in the show for 50 years at this point. Well, 50 years for us.
Yeah.
24-ish for them.
I guess, do they really raise the stakes of the Daleks in this serial? Because, you know, when you bring back the villain, you got to raise the stakes or else it'll fall into, like, you know, what we mentioned before, like the Davros syndrome, where they keep bringing him, they've brought him back, but they haven't really raised the stakes much. So just he seems like more lame, which they kind of did in Destiny, and like not so much in Revelation at all.
Mm-hmm.
But here, I don't know if they really did. I guess there was the whole, you know, Civil War kind of thing.
Yeah, I think they raised it in a different way. They didn't raise it necessarily for the humans or whatever race the Daleks were going to conquer. They raised them in that, you know, the Daleks were having an infight, Civil War type thing. And I don't think you necessarily have to raise the stakes to make it good. I mean, obviously that does help, but I think if you, like, change up the whole formula, you can make something good as well. Like, kind of completely subvert everything you've kind of set up before, which is sort of what they did here.
Kind of, but I also think that if you don't really raise the stakes, it sort of just is like, all right, well, the Doctor defeated him before, you know, whoever defeated him before, so they're just going to do it again. And he sort of seems less menacing. I mean, I'm specifically talking about Davros here, but yeah, you know, just the more he keeps showing up, he just kind of seems less menacing.
Which, well, that might be why maybe Davros only shows up in part 4 of this series, because they didn't want to have him in the whole thing, because they wanted to kind of avoid that he was gonna. He
wasn't really the menace at all. Really.
No.
It was more that 8-year-old girl.
This does bring up a weird point that if this is either pre or post Unearthly Child, doesn't matter. The first Doctor, like, explicitly only meets the Daleks for the first time in the Daleks.
Yeah, so
it, like, kind of undermines the fact that this has been a plan ever since he was the first Doctor. It's more like the 7th Doctor landed, realized the Daleks are there, and kind of just came up with this plan on the fly.
Sure, yeah, the whole having to get the hand into the hands of the right Daleks, or more the stalks of the right Daleks. But, I mean, the whole hiding the hand thing could have been the first Doctor, and was
I think
the first Doctor.
Yeah. Although the Doctor does mention at the end of this that the hand is back on its way to Gallifrey after blowing up.
Yeah, they kind of just wrote some stuff off, like, in the last line of dialogue, like, all right, sure.
I still enjoyed this serial.
Yeah, it was okay, in my opinion.
I think Sylvester McCoy's taking the Doctor in an interesting direction. Trying to blend that humor of the 4th and 2nd Doctor with that snappity snap of the 3rd Doctor.
And somewhat the 6th Doctor, maybe.
Kind of.
I don't think he's trying to blend it 50-50, though. I think it's more of an 80-20 sort of thing.
more like a 70-30, I think.
All right.
But I think when he strikes that balance, it'll be interesting because it'll be unique. I think when he strikes that balance, it'll be unique.
7 more to go. 7 stories left.
Because it's becoming increasingly hard to distance your portrayal of the Doctor from the previous ones. The more Doctors there are, the more difficult it is to find a unique portrayal.
I guess.
You can email us at thedoctor@decorativevegetable.com. Questions, comments, concerns, angry rants, love letters, your thoughts on Daleks and Scarecrow. Scarecrow. Their planet should have been called Scarecrow. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, and YouTube, all at Trust Your Doctor. Leave a rating if you like the show, or if you didn't. Doesn't matter, just leave a rating.
Check us out on Facebook, Trust Your Doctor, like us on Facebook. Also check us out on Twitter at TYD Podcast, and follow us on Twitter. And next week we watch The Happiness Patrol. But until then, the end.